Hello friends! Even those at the top are realizing the importance of silver in the process of survival of peoples and liberation of humankind. So, I return to give updated information on this luminous metal of multiple virtues, economic, technological and medicinal, whose value has been recognized by all civilizations since the most remote ancient times. Opinion article: Silver empowers the people. Survival is not futile. Aquarius is changing the world. Silver connects us to abundance. Quantum computers break bank encryption. In quotes, Bitcoin is almost as young as fiat money, says Elon Musk. Prosperity funds appear to be starting to moving. Semiconductors are the new oil and China is trying to master them. Extracting water from the air, technology for drought-stricken communities. Another mysterious metallic monolith appears in the Congo and the population burns it. Let's start. Silver is a powerful tool that can take power out of the hands of the swamp and put it into the hands of the people. Resistance to survival is not futile, as more and more people are responding to the new energies of Aquarius, according to Cobra. Esoterically speaking, silver is the metal that connects us with abundance and goddess energy. Energetically speaking, buying silver will be a symbolic act of bringing abundance into your life. The awakened path of the human population needs protection against the collapse of the financial system. Therefore, the forces of light asked everyone who feels guided to buy as much silver as they want. Those who feel guided can buy enough silver to finance them for approximately 1 or 2 weeks. The expected restart time after the systemic financial collapse. Those who want to invest can buy more silver, as silver is an undervalued asset and the price is likely to rise. In the mid-1970s, the Hunt brothers nearly dominated the silver market for a few years against the swamp. If a few brothers can do that, can you imagine what our collective power is? If this knowledge enters the general global consciousness, it would create some of the conditions necessary for the financial reboot, the financial restart, that would lay the foundation for the new just financial system. History. Silver has been used to make coins since 700 before Christ, initially with electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, and later of pure silver. Today, in computer assembly, compounds consisting mainly on pure silver and are often used to bond of the microprocessor board to the heatsink base and thus cool the processor, due to these heat conducting properties. The first officially minted coins were made in Lydia, now Turkey, a town in Minor Asia, approximately between 680 and 560 before Christ. These coins bear the heraldic symbol of a lion, representing the royal Mernada dynasty. The piece was minted in electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, and weighing 4.75 grams. After the Lydia experience, coins began to be minted by order of Darius of Persia, after the conquest of Lydia, and later in Greece. Some of the first coins had very stable composition, as in the case of the trump issued in Athens in the 6th century before Christ, with a content of around 65 or 67 grams of fine silver. Excuse me. Subsequently, coins proliferated rapidly in all the developed countries of the world. Monarchs, aristocrats, citizens, and institutions alike began to mint money with their identifying stamp to certify the authenticity of the coin's metallic value. Financial system. We all know that the current financial system is not fair. The looming systemic collapse of the current financial system is actually the collapse of the debt slavery bubble. The current crashes in the repo market are just the tip of the iceberg on the underlying systemic instability of the system. The megabank behind these crashes is JP Morgan, the bank at the center of the global financial system. A much bigger threat to the current financial system is quantum supercomputers, which can easily break all the encryption that protects financial data stored in the mainframe computers of central banks and other financial institutions. Quantum computers that could break all military-grade encryption are already here and could theoretically take over the current financial system. Humanitarian aid. It appears that prosperity funds linked to the global financial reboot are starting to move. On Wednesday, February 17th, Don Carlos de Marbella spoke to a person in a senior position in the QFS who said they would start issuing payments for humanitarian aid. Charlie has been put in charge of a large humanitarian program. This program is called the Unity Fund. If you have a humanitarian project that wasn't funded, you could apply to the Unity Fund, to their Unity Fund. They would interview you, and if you passed, which would mean they verified that the money wouldn't go to nefarious activities, but to humanitarian projects, they would give you the money for your project. The application would be available on their website by the end of this week. I'll put the link when it appears. Don Carlos did a show with Kelly Rivers, and I heard they had exciting news about QFS and medical beds, of which there are 3 different types. One for reconstructing limbs, one is a medical bed to optimize brain function, and the other is for conditions. Texas and Florida would be the first states to have medical beds available immediately after the switch for the QFS is flipped. Cobra report. The 2012 portal of the Lac Victory Intelligence Center issued a new planetary situation update on Wednesday, from which I accept some of the most important paragraphs. All of these are in quotes. The cleansing of the Chimera group continues. The resistance has succeeded in wiping out the vast majority of subway bases. Chimera made a significant blitzkrieg advance there on February 10th and now has control of the planetary subway domain. The forces of light have also succeeded in eliminating virtually all of the Chimera's exotic negative quantum superposition weapons and technologies, and have dissolved Schwab's so-called etheric scalar quantum matrix etheric technology, which was the main energy field behind the false Great Reset. Now that this Schwab matrix has been broken down, the whole dark plan of the swamp is slowly crumbling. The dragon forces of the surface are very active behind the scenes and are taking active countermeasures against the Illuminoids and there are plans for the Great Falls reboot. Now that the dark quantum superposition technologies are almost gone, the set tunnels are almost gone as well, and the implants are no longer quantum entwined. This facilitates spiritual growth, and the clearing of the implants. For when you start clearing personal implants, you are no longer clearing all the other implants in the planetary grid. Humankind appear to be approaching herd immunity, as daily cases of infection continue to decline. Many people, especially restaurant owners, are actively resisting closure orders and are keeping their restaurants open around the world by keeping safe distances. People are beginning to organize against the lockout at the legal and political level. Resistance is not futile, as more and more people are responding to the new energies of Aquarius. The forces of light have communicated that it is time to begin to take the planetary energy grid out of the hands of the dark back into our hands. Victory of light. Short news or news briefs. Texas power plants back online, but 325,000 homes remained in the dark. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said Thursday that all power plants in the state were back online, but hundreds of thousands of homes remain without power due to downed lines and other problems after a fierce winter storm and cold snap. Other Texas leaders warned that the state's power grid would remain extremely fragile for a few days, and that the cold weather that created the problems would linger through the weekend. Some 325,000 homes are still without power, up from 2.7 million on Wednesday, and more than 30 million Texans are seeing interruptions in their water services. Hundreds suffer monoxide poisoning. I mean Texans. The winter storm and power outages in Texas have led to several cases or various cases of carbon monoxide poisoning, as some people used unconventional means to try to generate heat as temperatures dropped. According to reports, Harris County firefighters attended to more than 300 cases of carbon monoxide poisoning in recent days. Judge Lina Hidalgo wrote that the number is just the tip of the iceberg, suggesting it's likely much higher. Colorado City Mayor resigns for saying only the strong will survive. Tim Boyd, Mayor of Colorado City, Texas, has resigned from office following a controversy sparked by a Facebook post of his urging people affected by the winter storm to fend for themselves. In quotes, "No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the responsibility of local government to support you in tough times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice." Close quotes. Wrote Boyd on Tuesday in a Facebook post that was later deleted. 30 people died in Texas because they couldn't survive the winter without government help. Economy. Sharp drop-off on Wall Street after disappointing jobs data. Stock prices fell sharply in midday trading Thursday on the New York Stock Exchange on rising Treasury bond yields. The number of Americans filing applications for unemployment benefits unexpectedly rose last week. In quotes, Bitcoin is almost as young as fiat money. close quotes. Elon Musk says after Tesla invest millions in the cryptocurrency. Tesla and SpaceX founder Elon Musk believes investing in Bitcoin can be a good idea for an S&P 500 company. He said while commenting on Tesla's decision to invest $1.5 billion in the digital currency last week. This Tuesday, the Bitcoin surpassed the 50,000 threshold of the first time in its history. And this day, it has set a new record by trading at 52,875. US companies asked to subsidize US chips factories. More than a dozen business associations representing automakers and medical device makers sent a letter to the president Thursday asking him to work with lawmakers to direct federal funds to build new microprocessor factories. Semiconductors are the new oil. The current shortage in the market for chips and semiconductors used for high technologies has been exposed in the Kaiser report. According to Stacy, the shortage of semiconductors is forcing several stages of the production process to be shut down, as in the case of cars. On the other side, Max emphasizes that semiconductor chips are the basis of the electronics, information, gaming, and cybernetics economy. According to the presenter, the problem is that US barely manufactures them, and that is why other countries, particularly Asian ones, have become leaders in the sector. Semiconductors are the new oil, the brains behind everything, Collins said, pointing to their use in the arms industry, consumer electronics, and vehicles. This is the key part of a modern high-tech society economy, and the US is losing the edge in that, he adds. China plans to dominate this century through chips. Free world must draw boundary line against communist China, says former Pompeo advisor. The world must wake up to China's Communist Party bullying and set its own rules to deter regime aggression, says China advisor of former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Politics. South Carolina passes abortion plan. South Carolina government Henry McMaster signed it into law Thursday, a bill planning nearly all abortions in the state. And the women's health group Planned Parenthood followed with a lawsuit arguing the measure was unconstitutional. As one of the most restrictive abortion bans, the so-called fetal heartbeat law prohibits abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected, often at 6 weeks and before a woman realizes she is pregnant. North Dakota takes steps to overturn unconstitutional laws. State Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican, has introduced legislation in North Dakota that would instruct the Attorney General to review the constitutionality of any and all executive orders signed by the President. G-Bay says Hispanics don't know how to use the Internet. The President says African Americans and Hispanics don't know how to use the Internet. His statements are breaking social media and causing a huge controversy. Fauci expects to return to normalcy by Christmas. Anthony Fauci said Thursday that a return to normalcy after the health crisis could come before the end of the year, aligning his forecast with the Christmas goal. Canada vows to be next country to go after Facebook to pay for news. Canada voted on Thursday to make Facebook pay for news content, seeking allies in the media battle with tech giants and promising not to back down if the social networking platforms shut down by country's news feed, as it did in Australia. Facebook blocked all the Australian news content on its service because of proposed legislation requiring it and Alphabet Inc.'s Google to pay fees to Australian publishers for news links. Protests over the dismissal of judge investigating Beirut for port explosion. Relatives of those killed in the explosion in the port of Beirut, Lebanon's capital, last August are protesting following the dismissal of the judge in charge of the investigation. The motion for dismissal was filed by two former ministers charged in the case, obviously. Technology. Chemists develop revolutionary material that self-assemblies. Technologies of the future could soon be made from self-assembling materials, according to chemists at Trinity College Dublin. The team successfully created a new material that self-assembles into two-dimensional networks in a predictable and reproducible manner, a property that gives the potential to be used in several applications. Extracting water from the air, technology for communities affected by drought. Peruvian biologist Max Hidalgo was recognized as one of the UN's Young Champions of the Earth 2020 for his Yawa project to extract water from the humidity in the air, wetness. With this device, he seeks to reduce social inequality by providing the poorest communities with access to drinking water. Yawa is a technology developed by Peruvian biologist and social entrepreneur Max Hidalgo, which consists of the construction of portable wind turbines capable of collecting up to 300 liters of water per day from air humidity and fog, pure water. Another mysterious metallic monolith appears out of nowhere in Congo, and the population is furious and burns it. The latest in a series of mysterious metallic monoliths that in recent months have been seen in different parts of the world appeared this weekend under mysterious circumstances in the Bandal neighborhood of Kinshasa, capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The silvery structure, about 3.6 meters high, appeared on Sunday, February 14th. 3 days later, the mysterious monolith attracted a crowd of locals who, while initially taking selfies with it and peacefully discussing its possible origin, eventually ended up destroying it with sticks and setting it on fire. NASA's Perseverance astrobiology rover makes historic Mars landing. NASA Mars rover Perseverance, the most advanced astrobiology laboratory ever sent to another world, broke through the Martian atmosphere on Thursday and landed safely inside a vast crater, the first stop in a search for traces of ancient microbial life on the red planet. A man quits drugs and becomes a hermit monk. It could be a legend, but it is a true story about the life of a man who decided to change his life by becoming a hermit monk of the Georgian Orthodox order. Maxim Kvavtaradze, a 67-year-old monk, has lived a life of solitude for more than 20 years at the top of the Katsky Pillar in the town of Chiatura, Georgia, former Soviet Union. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.